Good morning everyone. Today I am here to give presentation on the software engineering subject and my topic is risk management. So the risk management, what is meant by risk? A risk is a meaning like uncertain things which are happen that leads to a huge loss to our project or the product. So general example, suppose for instance you have to invest like $10,000 in an organization, $10,000 to a new startup organization, but your investment has extended up to the $50,000 for the growth of the organization, but final output you have got like it doesn't reach up to the mark, like the company has completely failed. That is known as a risk. So that like uncertain things are happen which may face the huge loss to the product or the project. That is called as a risk. And the next one is a management. So the management is nothing but here you are recovering the product from the risks. So that means you are identifying the risk and you are applying few steps and the activities to recover that risk is known as a management. So before you have to management the risk, you need to know what are the types of the risk and what are the occurrence of the risks. So mainly the risks are occur. The occurrence of the risks are, the first one is a misunderstanding of the user requirements. So the misunderstanding of the user requirements means, for instance, you are baking a cake. The customer will give few requirements like I require this type of design and this much kgs and the flavor is of this much. So here if the requirements are not clearly understand to the chef, or here you can take it as a developer. So if the requirements are completely not understand by the developer, there may be the occurrence of the risk. However, the output will not be accepted by the user. So the next one is the frequent changes in the requirements by the user. That means here the customer, he'll have a multiple types of the requirements, he'll have a multiple choices. So once the 50% of the project is completed, the product is 50% is ready, and now he want to change it. Now he want to add some extra features to it. So after the designing part is completed, that may give a huge loss to the project. That is also one type of the requirement. And the next one is no complete knowledge about the new methodologies and the technologies. So now here we are in a day with the very new technologies are introduced. So here when we doesn't have any complete knowledge about the technology, we cannot use that technology blindly in our project. That is another type of the risk we are facing. And the next one is staff management. Staff management means, for instance, you are having a 10 members of the team size. And here for your project that 10 members are not enough and you need to require the more people. That is another type of the risk. And the last one is budget management. So as I said, like if you are estimating some kind of budget for the completion of the project, but you are beyond that budget, that is another type of the risk you are occurring. So these are all the different types of the risk. So the next you are going to the risk management. So here we are having a multiple types in the activities in the risk management. So here the first one is the risk assessment. So here the risk assessment. In the risk assessment you are identifying that risk. So here the steps involved in the risk assessment are, the first one is the risk identification. So risk identification. So before starting your project you need to identify the risk. So there are two different types of risk to identify the risks. They are, the first one is a generic approach for the identification of the risk. So what is meant by generic approach? Generic approach means it concentrates on the overall product, means overall software. Like if you are having 10 modules to complete a software, it will directly concentrate on all the 10 modules to identify the risk. And the next one is a specific product risk identification. Specific product means, so if you are having 10 modules product, or else if you concentrate on any particular product in a particular area, that is called as a specific product risk identification. So here there are multiple types of the risk identifications. So the first one is a project risk. So the project risk comes under, like it comes under the budget estimation, staff estimation, everything comes under, and the project planning, like project schedules are given. So you need to complete that project in a scheduled period of time. If it is not complete, that also leads to a risk for the organization. That is called as a project risk. And the next one is a technical risk. Technical risk means while implementing the design or the interfaces, you will be finding some kind of risks. That comes under the technical risk. And the next one is the business risks. So there are multiple types of business risk, like a market risk. Market risk means, suppose for instance you are developing one water bottle. So here in the market there are multiple types of water bottles. So why they need to purchase only your water bottle? Is there any specific changes or the specific thing to purchase your water bottle, and what is the commutation out over there? That comes under the market risk. And the next comes under the sales risk. Sales risk means here you need to know the methods, like how to sell the product. Without the knowledge, how can you advertise your product and sell the product? That comes under the business risks. And the next one is a known risk. Known risk means here you will be clearly knowing about the risk based upon it may be of the previous examples. For instance, you are traveling in the same route. So easily you can understand like how many speed breakers are there. That type of risk, like if you are going through some projects and if you are having a 10 lines of code, then you will be thinking like in the 5th line of the code you will be occurring an error. That type of called as a known risk. And the next one is a predictable risk. Predictable risks means based upon, as a developer he will be developing a different types of projects. So he will be based upon the previous experience of the usage of the previous technologies. He may think like if we are implementing this technology in this product, so here these kind of risks may occur. So based upon that predictions, he will be already ready with his solutions also. That is called as a predictable risk. And the last one is the unpredictable risk. Unpredictable risk. Unpredictable risks means you will not thought like this type of risk will be occurring in this product. So at the time this unpredictable risks are very high type of risks. You need to resolve this unpredictable risks in a high priority. Why? Because this unpredictable risks will be lead to a huge dangers to the product. And the next we are going to the after the risk identification, and the next one is the risk analysis and the risk prioritization. Risk analysis and the risk prioritization. So in the first step you are identifying with the risk. In the second step you need to analyze that risk and you need to know about the probability of the risk. Probability of the risk means how much percentage that the product, that risk is impacting your product. Like here the probability of the risk you will be having like very low, moderate, high and very high. So you need to identify like how much percentage the risk is impacting your product. If the risk is of very low, that means it is of 0 to 15%. 0 to 15% means that type of risks can be easily manageable, right? And the next one is low, that is from the 15% to the 25% of the risk. That may be of a scheduled risk, like if you are scheduled in the 10 days to complete a project, but you are taking another 2 days for the completion of the project. So that type of risk comes under the low risk. And the next one is a moderate risk, which is 25% to the 50%. So here it project is beyond the budget. So that comes under the moderate risk. And the next one is the high risk, which is from 50% to the 75%. So the 50% to the 75% means here when your risk is high, these types of risk will be identified and they should be clear. And the next one and the last one is the very high risk, which is plus 75% above. That means when you have done with the product and that product output is not exact to the user requirements. So if you have developed a product and that product is not up to the user requirements, so that definitely the user will not purchase that product and will not use that product. That however completely over loss to an organization. So that type of risk comes under the very high risks.